I'm clearing up the links that I got while I was live streaming, and apparently some former fan of mine released a video called Vaush's Lies Exposed, Confessions of a Former Fan. It is 45 minutes long. It seems like quite an investment. I don't know if I want to watch all of this, but I guess if my, if this epically owns me and my channel is done, I guess I should probably find out. It's a Tankie video. It's really bad. How do you guys always know this before me? This came out yesterday. Do you guys just like have Google alerts for any time a YouTube video from someone who isn't me uploads a video with me in the title? Yes? Okay. I'll listen to I'll listen to 5 minutes. They think Tankie is a slur. Wait, is this fellow traveler? Isn't this the pencils guy? Isn't this the guy 2 years ago who was screeching, "You'll be selling pencils out of a cup"? The Joker, he's the Joker guy, yeah. You think Stalin was a bad guy. You haven't seen anything. Yeah, that guy. That guy's nuts. Yeah, he's pretty mentally... Yeah. Anyway, let's take a look. Just give me 5.
Vaush is a self-identified socialist political streamer who is a pretty controversial figure online. In answer to this controversy, Vaush's fans and Vaush himself have in turn taken to calling the criticisms of Vaush derangement syndrome, or VDS for short. Countless videos have been made criticizing Vaush at this point. But I think I have a bit of a different perspective on the issue of Vaush compared to these other videos, because I used to be a huge Vaush fan myself. For a period of around 4 to 5 months, I watched most of the videos he released on YouTube basically every single day. Before school, after school, wherever, I listened to his...
but did you donate?
Life takes, his political takes, and yes, his media takes. I even watched a good half or so of his 5-hour-long rankings of Dark Souls bosses. What I'm trying to communicate is how much I...
Wait, the 5-hour-long ranking of Dark Souls bosses came out recently-ish. I debated him 2 years ago. Did he become a Tankie and then stop and then be a fan of mine and now he's a Tankie again? Or is he just completely lying about being a fan of mine? Wait, this isn't Fellow Traveler? Wait, this isn't Fellow Traveler? I just assumed it was under a different YouTube name. Oh, okay, guys. Okay, never mind. It's a different guy. It's a different guy. Someone in chat said it was the Fellow Traveler guy.
Respected Vaush's opinion. I never uncritically adored the guy. I wasn't one of the fans that seemingly spent all day on the internet defending him, but for a good while I thought he was pretty much without exception the smart...
My left. What does that mean? I'm genuinely asking. I'm not being rhetorical. I don't know what it means to be more to the left of me. As far as I'm concerned, everything that I do is in the pursuit of what I think is the best path towards socialism. The fastest and most effective path possible. In my opinion,
On a surface level, it's not entirely surprising that people do think so highly of...
Holy shit, my lighting setup sure has improved, huh? Oh my god. Look at that. Jesus Christ.
Vaush. Vaush's speech is articulate, his voice is strong and commanding, and his politics do overall seem to be pretty progressive to those that aren't very educated when it comes to politics.
Yeah, the only thing that's worse is the chair. The chair's been torn apart. New light makes you look thinner. Losing 100 pounds will probably also do that.
Like I was. And the warning signs, like the fact that he openly admits that he's a lazy person.
By my nature, I'm a lazy person. I'm just work shy.
Or the fact that he spends much of the time in his reactions to criticisms.
That's true.
Of him distractedly talking to chat or playing a video game or not
even... Oh no, we're doing that now. Oh, we're playing into the stereotype. To be fair, a lot of criticisms of me are really bad. It gets pretty boring, you know, but yeah. I do respect people who want to criticize me. That's fine. If you want to make a video, it's just, they tend to be like pretty bad criticisms.
Watching most of the video, or the fact that he proudly seems to be basically all of his research straight from Wikipedia, are to many politically immature people seen not as warning signs, but as...
That's not true. That being said, though, if you, like, read up entirely on a wiki page, you are going to be more educated in that subject than, like, 99.9% of people. Wiki pages tend to be pretty thorough, and then at the bottom, you have the sources that the summaries on the page are pulled from, and you can look at those more. I mean, here we're taking a look at Thomas Sankara. While looking over Thomas Sankara, didn't I literally do an 1 hour and 20-minute deep dive where I tried to find, like, original scans of a print of the teachers' union's intentions from Burkina Faso back in, like, 1989 or something? We were, like, trying to, like, translate shit out of French to try to find an answer to one. Yeah, like, we ended... Yeah. That was from this stream, man. I was pretty proud of that. I feel like we engaged in a pretty high level of... Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, you know, never logical pretzels.
beacons. No one could be this impossibly confident in themselves unless they were really right about almost everything, right? This incredible confidence makes him such an attractive person to so many politically unsure, vaguely left-leaning people as I was. But what specifically is the harm with Vaush then? Are Vaush's critics from the left really the ones with VDS? And why does yet another video about this guy really need to be made? Well, the thing is, I want to actually talk about something broader than just Vaush, and to get an idea of what I mean, let's start by watching Vaush's video, This is How I Want to Build Socialism.
Oh,
I won't dive into the entire...
That's an old... I should redo that video, by the way, now that I've lost weight. Changed my hair, lost the keloids, fixed my lighting setup, etc., etc. We should redo that video.
25-minute video. But long story short, Vaush's main argument for how to achieve socialism is by building support for left-leaning politicians by voting for them, so that these politicians can begin to make socialist positions more popular, so that when a revolution that he believes is apparently inevitable comes thanks to climate change, enough people will support leftist politics to make a successful revolution possible.
Wait, that's an unfair summary of what I said. I talk about how I don't think the revolutionary conditions in America are yet, like, even remotely ripe for socialist revolution. And the best thing you can do is, like, actively promote class consciousness so that when those revolutionary conditions present themselves, they can be acted upon positively. I mean, I expand on that. I also talk, like, economically about the way in which I think worker cooperatives are a good way of sort of developing class consciousness without having to fundamentally retouch our global trade system, which we can't really do individually. Okay, well, whatever.
The problem is, if we look at history, any democratic attempts to establish a socialist government have throughout history been crushed. Just look at the lengths finance capital went to sabotage Bernie, who was really just a social democrat and not even a democratic socialist in both 2016 and
okay, so he's not actually going to, like, show anything that I say from the video. He's just going to, like, broadly sum it up as Vaush thinks that you should vote. Well, did you know voting doesn't work, idiot? And that's it.
20. We also saw the Labour Party deliberately sabotage its own candidate in Jeremy Corbyn to an even greater extent throughout his tenure as leader of the opposition. The closest to a successful democratic socialist attempt in history...
That's literally it. We're not actually getting... Can I say something?
Changes. You can't really, as it is, prevent an actual to ensure...
This policy in this country through fucking...
As an act of...
Okay, here we go. I'm going to say something.
Explicitly preventing revolution.
Frankly, I don't really want to implement leftist policies in this country through executive action. Is that really the way we want to do it? Now, I'm not saying I didn't want Bernie to win. Of course I did, but we have to recognize the dude would have been working with a handicap. But doing this through executive action, just the president unilaterally doing this stuff, it's a bad precedent. And the next president can just undo it. Anything you do via executive action can just be undone via executive action. Whereas if you have it pushed through House and Congress and so on and so forth, it is much, much harder to undo that stuff. Much harder.
The reason FDR passed more executive actions than any other president in history...
Wait, that's just a fact, though. Wait, what? Is that even... A lot of the stuff that he did went beyond just executive orders. He did do a lot of executive orders, but he was also like a hero president who led the nation for 4 terms and had a lot of time to get done, more than anyone else ever.
...been reversed or revolution occurs. He doesn't at all talk about this in the video. And the reasons after the supposed revolution occurs. He doesn't at all talk about this in the video. And the reason Vaush doesn't actually go into what he would envision a post-revolution society to be is because, I would argue, he's unserious about imagining any form of actually existing socialism in the first place. The
term actual existing socialism, when used by anyone online, means they think that Soviet Russia and Mao's China are socialism. They probably think that Deng's China is socialism. Also, I'm pretty sure I've talked about post-revolutionary conditions before. It's just I don't like to waste my time jerking off about, like, here's my future... Victoria, Hearts of Iron, Stellaris bullshit. Let me reinvent all of society in my head to tell you what it would look good as. I like to talk about what's happening,
This picture is a perfect summation of Vaush's lack of any rigor when it comes to his understanding of actually existing socialist experiments and researching in general.
Why, yes, I do oppose destructive American sanctions and also support Cubans demanding more of their government. How could you tell? No, people in non-Western countries can't hold protests. That's literally CIA or CIA. So this was, the Cuban government mishandled a lot of COVID stuff, and people were upset with the behavior of the government. So there were protests against the government in Cuba like a year ago, and a bunch of Western lefties were screeching that the protests against the Cuban government were all like CIA color revolutionaries. And there was no... And actually, in a real real lovers of Cuba would never protest against it, because that's what democracy means, right? When you can't protest the government.
Notice how, according to the timestamp of the tweets, Vaush asked for research about Cuba, then spent less than an hour, it could have been as little as literally a couple minutes, actually researching the issue, before then tweeting out the absolute gold standard blue dog Democrat Nancy Pelosi talking point of how the embargo is bad, yes, but what about the poor people not getting enough from their government?
Nancy Pelosi wants to remove the embargo to Cuba? Also, yeah, okay. Damn, I guess Nancy Pelosi taking the dub on that one. Yes, I do think the embargoes are bad, but also think the people should be able to protest their government. Okay. I didn't know Nancy Pelosi was such a firebrand of revolutionary sentiment.
Now, to be fair, Vaush's video on the topic...
Wait, that's literally it. They're not actually going to explain how the take is wrong.
Cuba is actually not completely terrible. It's a somewhat fair analysis in many ways, but he still does the same approach of criticizing Cuba's methods without actually in any way analyzing why a state like Cuba might function the way it does in the first place.
Wait, is this mother literally going, this guy criticized the bad behavior of the Cuban government without considering that they might have wanted to behave bad? Wait, what? What is it? Oh, poor people in Cuba protesting. Have you stopped to consider that maybe... What? What is the argument? I don't know. I don't know what any of these mean, man. I hate tankies. It's just another, like, I don't know, branch of fascism. This person's probably pretty young, right? They said they watch videos of mine before and after school. I mean, the oldest they can be is like 19. Yeah, okay, fellow traveler helped out with the video. That is the crazy Joker tanky guy. Yeah. Consider this person to be in basically the same position as a, like, 18-year-old fascist who got groomed in, you know?
If Vaush looked with clear eyes at the history of the...
What the f does this have to do with anything? It's literally always like, okay, I'm not going to directly contradict this point. However, you might have noticed that America is bad. Therefore, whatever he was saying, yeah, undarken your eyes, clear your mind.
Imperialism in South America, he would know that in Cuba, before Batista, the winning candidate of Cuba's so-called elections was always a puppet of the US, just like in every so-called democracy in South America during the Cold War, and in many cases since then as well. If Fidel had simply turned Cuba into democracy as Americans conceive of it again, and completely let freedom of press and capitalist parties...
Keep in mind, this has nothing to do with what I said. The only thing I said is that the people of Cuba have a right to protest their government if they feel like their government has failed them in some way, which is a very basic socialist belief. Yeah, Cuba's not even on this fucking list.
Exists. The US would have funded fake newspapers and fake politicians, and those politicians would have gone on to win, and Cuba would have been turned more or less back into existence.
Why do so many lefty video essays take forever to say nothing? The real reason, and the problem that this guy is running into, and the reason he needed help in this video, is that I'm right about everything. I'm generally pretty good at not making statements on a subject unless I feel like I could out-debate somebody if they challenge me on it, with the exception being media takes anything that I've ever said about science and also, like, anything that I have the right to correct within 5 seconds. But on stuff like this that I put any amount of thought into, like, I try to keep my statements proportioned to the knowledge that I have. The difficulty here is that because everything that I've said on the subject is unimpeachably correct, there's no real way to criticize it. So instead what they do is they deliberately misinterpret the implications of what I'm saying, and then they go on to critique that. So I said the Cuban people have a right to protest their government if they feel their government is failing them. That's a very basic democratic and socialist principle, because socialism is fundamentally democratic, you know, if they're actually doing socialism. But what this guy is hearing is Vaush is defending the implementation of American-style bourgeois democracy on Cuba. Because he's saying he's pro-protest, he's imposing his beliefs about American democracy prescriptively onto Cuba. Now, let me explain why it's wrong to believe that. Now, obviously, I didn't say that. That's retarded. But, you know, he's going to go on about that as well. Yeah, let's skip ahead a little bit. You know, it's haven't you mostly praised Cuba? Yeah. I hate this goddamn yellow shirt, man.
Vaush talks about all the time is debating the facts, showing evidence. Vaush just says excuses. That was all the master debater had to say in response.
Oh, to what? Wait, to what?
Advancements that the Bolsheviks simply could not reach.
Oh, there's fellow traveler.
They were an agrarian peasant society where you had small-scale production, petty bourgeois mindsets, and small-scale production reproduces capitalist economic relations.
I know, excuse.
How is this excuse I'm providing you with because
This was a debate I remember watching when I was still a big Vaush fan, and I was...
Wait, isn't this the debate where that guy was saying that because of revolutionary material conditions, Stalin had a right to criminalize homosexuality? Wait, wasn't that the excuse we were talking about?
is democratic means control over the means of production. It's completely socialism. Socialism is social ownership of the means of production. To get to a point to where you have people as direct worker owners requires a great deal of societal evolution and advancements that the Bolsheviks simply could not reach. They were an agrarian peasant society where you had small-scale production.
Sorry, this was him defending totalitarianism in Soviet Russia.
Petty bourgeois mindsets and small-scale production reproduces capitalist economic relations.
I know, excuse.
How is this an excuse I'm providing you with?
Because
This was a debate
Because that is every convo on Soviet Russia with tankies, where you're like, hey, so Stalin killed 5 billion people here and also destroyed every democratic institution, and there was no socialism ever at any point. How do you plead? And they're like, well, if America hadn't done this, then maybe he would have eaten fewer, like, Ukrainian babies. All right.
remember watching when I was still a big Vaush fan, and I was taken aback at this part. Rather than criticize Traveler
This
for...
video duder's just anti-democracy. They're fine with totalitarianism as long as it stops capitalism. The funny thing being, again, that Soviet Russia did not meaningfully transform capitalism. That's why we call it state capitalism, right? Like, in America today, you have no democracy in the workplace. Your boss has total control over your working ability, and you're utterly subject to their whims. In Soviet Russia, instead, like, political responsibilities are managed by, work responsibilities are managed by the state. And oftentimes, you know, people who have work control over you also have political control over you, meaning that the consequence of losing your job is no longer just you're out of a job. It's also you've committed a crime, or you may now face investigation by the state. Or because, like, Politburo members control a lot of this stuff, they talk with each other, and you don't have the ability to do work anywhere because you're disfavored. You're considered, like, subversive. The whole, like, you have no control over where you work thing does not change under state capitalism. It's worse in a lot of ways, because at least in America, if you act like an asshole at your job, then leave, usually the guy who controls your company doesn't also have the ability to just arrest you for being seditious to the state. You know, and I think it's good to not do that. It was illegal to be unemployed in the Soviet Union. Yeah, well, yeah, that's like total employment, right? And they sure did ship a lot of people off to Siberia. Yeah. Was there even a large amount of worker control of their work, like co-ops or pseudo-co-ops, anything resembling unions? Nope. Lenin disbanded the worker councils the first day he could. Literally, Lenin's first nanosecond one of the new Soviet Union, he hits the big red button that ends worker control, like, immediately. Nah, come on, even you have acknowledged the USSR had a number of positive economic ideas better than that of America. Yeah, but not about the power relations. That's worse than America. In every imaginable sense, the power relations in the Soviet Union were worse than America in terms of the control you had over your life as an individual proletarian. There were things in the USSR that were better. Lower rent costs, certain state offered guarantees. Healthcare was worse broadly, but there were groups that had access to it that wouldn't have in America due to economic barriers. There was, like, a broad push for, like, gender and racial progressivism in some areas at some points in time that were not adhered to very, like, consistently. I mean, you might have gender egalitarianism in the big cities, but the rural areas were not even remotely. I mean, it's a mixed bag. You can learn interesting stuff from the Soviet Union, but it's not good. You know, it's not good. Yeah, there was a workers' opposition inside the Bolshevik Party against that, and most of them got killed in the Great Purge. Yeah, interestingly, most of the people who really valued worker democracy in the Bolshevik Party were killed by Stalin, you know, shortly after he took power. I'm sure that was a coincidence. All right, okay, we're pulling back. We're not doing a whole research stream right now. Just it's goofy goober bullshit, you know.
What he said, rather than provide counterpoints and debate the facts, which is what Vaush talks about all the time, is debating the facts, showing evidence. Vaush just says excuses. That was all the master debater had to say in response.
No, it was like a 2-hour conversation. Did he really clip out a bit where the other guy talked for 30 seconds, and then I said excuses, and then it immediately cut off, and it's like, was that all he had to say? He must have ended the call immediately after that, you know.
If Vaush was educated on this time period, he could have said something in response to this, right? Like, dishonest or not, he could have said
It was
something.
a 60-second
If you're rooting
debate.
your like political philosophy in the aesthetic of like adopting the positions of some long dead person rather than a material analysis of the world that you live in, then you're an aesthetically oriented leftist, and you're not doing anyone any service.
Vaush apparently thinks material analysis is important, but at the same time applying real-world material analysis to the USSR is just excuses. Vaush is more than happy to say whatever.
Yeah, it is. If it's being used as an excuse. So, for instance, I also like to observe my surroundings, to process information. And I like the concept of object permanence. I like causality as a principle. You know, those are cool things that I have to use in my brain to make sense of the world. But sometimes people arrange that information in a way that is an excuse. You get it? See, sometimes we use information to construct a type of statement that is an excuse, which is when you're making an illegitimate justification for or apologia for something that has happened. And you can do that using any kind of information gathering system, including material analysis.
Whatever fits best for him in the moment. When demonizing tankies, material analysis is good. A rambling, incoherent 45 minutes worth of material analysis is also apparently really important in explaining why Biden is putting kids in cages. But when a Marxist
That was a great video. People got super mad at that one, but as always, completely correct.
Leninist like fellow traveler uses material analysis to explain the conditions in the USSR at the time.
I know, excuse.
Okay, wait, hold on. Is fellow traveler just using this as an excuse to get another video out? I bet the parts he helped with were just him inserting his conversation, so he could do like these ad hoc debate. Well, hey, listen, okay? We're gonna get Biden to get those troops out of Iraq, okay? Wait, did he already do that? We're gonna keep Biden from... Okay? History? And you are lucky that I personally got Biden into office, because otherwise... Is Hakeem from Iraq? Well, hey, listen, okay? We're gonna get Biden to get those troops out of Iraq, okay? Wait, did he already do that? We're gonna keep Biden from fucking bombing any more of your airports, okay? That's what we're gonna do. You're welcome, Hakeem. True.
When Vaush gets to
That was a weird section of the video. Why was there so much text? Also true.
the word Marxist-Leninist, his mouth suddenly spazzes out. He mumbles about how the video is complaining about him before he skips past the fact that the Black Panthers were MLs.
Better skip past this part. Oh shit. There we go.
He actually was.
I literally got into leftism because of the Black Panther Party. The assassination of Fred Hampton's on a bookshelf on my left. That's still, like, to me, the foundational text that I use.
I'm pretty sure I've acknowledged that the Black Panther Party had political tendencies I disagreed with. I like what the Black Panther Party did. I don't necessarily like everything they believed. A lot of Black Panther Party people were psycho freaks. They really were. They did a lot of base shit, though. I've, like, talked about that. It's not really much of an own.
That got me into this whole political scheme. Marxist-Leninism doesn't mean anything. It doesn't.
True.
Vaush at least does acknowledge in the latest of his anti-Marxist-Leninist videos recently released that the Black Panthers were also influenced heavily by Maoism, but he still weirdly doesn't
I've always... this comes up, like, every time they come up.
admit that they were also Marxist-Leninists. And he also argues that he thinks they're different from regular people that call themselves Maoists.
I said this because regular people... What the fuck face am I making here? When most people online call themselves Maoists, what they're actually saying is that they've never felt the touch of a woman. But when the Black Panther Party called themselves Maoists, what they were saying was, I'm retarded, but now I'm going to go out and harass some white policemen by following them around in my little car. So when the Black Panther Party calls them, which is cool, Maoist, what do they actually mean? What are they referring to? Well, in their case, they were referring largely to organizational and revolutionary structures. Whereas in the case of regular people who call themselves Maoists, I interpret that as a defense of Mao, like as a leader.
The ideas of
That's totally true, by the way. Yeah.
both following a Maoist revolutionary structure or supporting past socialist leaders, those are not two mutually exclusive ideas.
If that's the case, why would an American ever be a Maoist? The Maoist revolutionary structure was all about, like, taking to the countrysides to get, like, the peasantry and the subsistence farmers on your side, and then engage in guerrilla warfare until you can, like, make marches on the cities. How is that relevant to American revolutionary strategy? Well, none of this, it doesn't mean anything. Again, but for everyone, use the wipe, the memory wipe in your brain. Whenever a lefty starts making videos on shit like this, it's worthless. You would rather... It's better off if you do literally anything else. You could be jerking off right now. The people who made this video could be jerking off. We're literally listening to like an 18-year-old defend a group that I like, who I've acknowledged are Maoist, but they're saying that the kind of Maoist, the revolutionary conditions are more defensible than that. And this guy isn't brushing his teeth twice a day. This guy didn't take the garbage out in time for the last garbage truck and now has stinky garbage in his house, probably like right by the back door. This guy's not holding it up.
Like he seems to be saying. Fought and died
Is there
for
anything here
socialism.
interesting?
Marxist-Leninist revolutionary groups fight.
Wait, is it literally all fucking like China, Cuba? It's literally all tanky shit. Is there even any like progressivism in here? Oh, here's flowers.
Fascist or Nazi or Holocaust supporting accusations against the likes of Professor Flowers.
True.
Luna Oi, Non-Compete, Bad Empanada, Fellow Traveler, Tankie King, Hakeem, and I'm sure many, many more. Of course, these same...
Most of the people on that list have explicitly defended genocides.
Red fascists acknowledge actual red fascists, also known as Patsacks or Nazguls, people like Jackson Hinkle or Infrared, for being crazy all the time. There is very clear and extensive evidence for this.
Yeah, Non-Compete literally said Nazis have a point.
It's not like a couple people, like, these people are widely condemned or at least disliked by most of the people that Vaush calls tankies. Vaush says he's not against the idea of critical support, but let's be honest, he's just a liar
to
say that and then lump all Marxist-Leninists into a single category.
Retarded. Remember, Marxism-Leninism is not a real thing. It was a syncretic state ideology created by Stalinist USSR in order to stamp out any Marxist analysis from the term and use it as a brand image to unify the anti-West global hegemon under an ideology of authoritarianism and anti-democracy.
Every single time, I'm like, hey, you know, not all MLs are like this one, or 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 this one. Eventually, I have to draw the line. I think MLs are just like that.
It's not in Vaush's interest to make a distinction between Patsacks and the likes of Fellow Traveler Hakeem, who have both positive and negative things to say about the USSR, but Hakeem has criticized Vaush, as many other Marxist-Leninists have also criticized him, so they are all red fascists, even though most of them do not uncritically support countries like Russia or China, or express...
So ML is basically a brand then? Red fascist. It just means red fascist. That's it. Every ML I have ever talked to has been some form of genocide denier or anti-democracy type. They're usually willing to make massive concessions to progressivism if it means being able to achieve anti-capitalism. And by anti-capitalism, what they mean is state capitalism, which maintains the same fundamental power relations. It's just worse and less effective. There's really nothing good to say about these guys. Some of them may have deluded themselves into believing that they're genuinely socialists, and some of them might think that they're repping the label, you know, but that there's some broader ideological goal they're trying to fight for that isn't necessarily socialism, but it's convenient to be in line. It doesn't really matter. This isn't even true, Vaush, because you acknowledge Hakeem is not as bad as Caleb Maupin or Jackson Hinkle and shit, like, bruh. Well, Caleb Maupin and Jackson Hinkle are... Okay, well, different distinctions here. Jackson Hinkle has no ideology at all. He just acts out functionally Nazism with a very thin veneer of, you know, pro-worker sentiment. Caleb Maupin is like 2 steps behind on that, but basically the same thing. I mean, he's literally a Russian state agent. Hakeem is smart, but I watched a Hakeem video recently, man. Kind of not. I really think, like, it's like the reason why you hate America. People like Hakeem, like, politics first is disliking the West, and then a lot of other stuff gets built on top of that. And then you have people like Caleb Maupin, where his first politic is, like, supporting the Russian state, and that overlaps with hating the West. You know, this stuff gets all mixed up. In any case, I've been doing this for 4 years, and these people are constantly shitting their pants when they talk to me, so it's not... Like, I'm not getting moved over on this. I keep hearing people try to say, well, these people are good, well, those people are good. You know, no. Doesn't mean anything.
Racist or anti-LGBTQ views like the minority of Patsacks do. If you're someone like me, though, who was very loyal to Vaush for a while, his strategy of scarecrowing his opponents as insane or fascist or uneducated...
True. You can hit me with that authentically as much as true. You can't act retarded in front of me and then go, huh, your next move will be to call me retarded. And then I call you retarded and you're like, huh, how predictable. I mean, yeah, like...
really helps to shut down any rational discussion where Vaush knows he would lose. It shuts down any willingness on the part of his audience to critically engage at all with what the opponent is saying.
Scarecrowing.
The problem, of course, with this strategy is that if you actually do critically engage with the content of most of the people he demonizes, you will quickly see that many of them aren't uneducated and aren't fascists. This is what happened with me. Professor Flowers was painted as an insane, white genocide-wanting, black supremacist monster, and after watching Vaush's review of the debate, I totally believed him. I remember thinking what a freak this lady was. But I still decided that it would be worthwhile to hear her perspective because I didn't think Vaush was the ultimate authority and I wanted to hear the other side. Then I watched her video responding to the debate she had with Vaush about black nationalism.
Which was also psychotic, if I remember correctly. Wasn't that the video where she, like, paused the music in the video and it zoomed in and she was like, and you whiteys are lucky that we don't want to kill you, or something like that? That was in the first follow-up video, right? That was pretty weird. It was pretty psycho. It was actually a lot worse than the actual debate because she was trying to hold it in while, like, talking with me. But yeah, that was pretty weird. And then she went on a bunch of other times to completely conflate white and colonizer, which suggests that any anti-colonial sentiment she expresses is legitimately anti-white racialized violence, which is just genocidal rhetoric. That's not really arguable. It's kind of objective. I think she may not even know consciously she would support genocide. No, she doesn't strike me as particularly bright, so I don't really think she knows. But who cares if she knows? I know. Who gives a fuck about people's positions on their own positions? If we go by that, then we'll be fucking goose-stepping down DC by tomorrow. Christ.
And I saw that she was far more rational than Vaush painted her. If you're gonna say, oh, PF supports genocide, just shut the fuck up and watch all 4 of her videos about
Nice counter-argument.
Vaush like I did, multiple times, and understand that you're wrong and you're listening to Vaush's disgusting smear of her rather than actually listening to her. Anyways, then while I was making this video, I also saw her follow-up video about harassment caused by the false accusations made by Vaush against her, made her stop making videos again, and even drove her to almost killing herself. And that's what really turned—
Oh wait, I watched this video. This is some fucking bullshit, man. You know, I still don't see any fucking evidence of harassment. Because they can never front up with that shit. Wait, did she even say that the harassment made her want to kill herself in this video? I don't even remember. I don't give a fuck. She's a fascist and a genocidal freak who argued with me and didn't like being called what she is. Whatever emotional problems she has is a product of that, or not my fault. Now, they always try to weaponize that suicide shit. Hey, if anything, we can be thankful that, like, non-red fascists don't do that, you know? Normally, when you argue with them and they freak out about it, they aren't, like, cry-posting about it later. I've only seen one example which she admitted wasn't from the community. Yeah.
turned my fucking stomach. Thanks directly to Vaush. These were people who had painted in my mind as insane fascists.
We went over that video on stream. There's literally nothing there.
Without ever in any real way actually knowing anything about them. I'd just taken Vaush's word for it and the way he'd interpreted Flower's words, without any critical thinking on my part, and someone had gotten hurt because countless other people did the same. It is cult-like how Vaush has to paint these people as insane and as deranged as possible in order to prevent any chance of people actually engaging with their content at all, and it works. Of course, Professor Flowers almost—
I usually tell people that they can engage with the content of the people. Don't I do that? I do that all the time. I literally say, if you like him, you can watch him. She flip-flops in her story about whether this community harassed her. This is the only example I've ever seen from her. Oh yeah, this was it. This was the big thread. So Ian's Vaush audience got a trans advocacy group banned from Twitter. That didn't happen. Who later asked why there were trans people who like him. A lot of white trans people responded. I like how they have to add white here. As if you can tell a person's race based on their Twitter response. And some said they like him because they think he's anti-racist or whatever. Really hard to see white people call another white person anti-racist pro-BLM when that person has literally talked about white genocide, used their audience to attack any POC and call them out. I've never experienced so much racism in my life. Other than that community, I grew up around white conservatives. I've never been called an N-word so many times. Curiously, no evidence for this claim was ever produced once, even though my entire mod team reached out to try to get any support for this claim at all. Curiously, I mean, who could possibly imagine a freak fucking emotionally unstable fascist lying about stuff like that? Not me. Only example I've seen. And then here's one which is the most fed post one in the universe that I've ever seen in my life. You're an N-word, hashtag Vaush Army. We are Vaush fans. We will send you back to Africa. This is definitely stuff my fans do and say. Vaush Army is a term used by my community. Yeah. This is definitely with an anime profile. Yep. Drainer Jihad. Created from what looks like basically the day that they would have messaged her. Yeah. Got him. Wait, hold on. I have to give the video bit to Tempest. Dun 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 dun. There we go. Tempest finally returned. The hero.
Almost killed herself as a result of the harassment she received. There is consequences to Vaush's actions. Saying not to harass someone is not nearly enough. Vaush openly admits he's lazy. He openly admits—
Wait, saying not to harass— Wait, hold on. Wait, can I even engage with ideas then at all? If saying you can't harass it— Wait, so just never disagree? I don't even know what the prescriptions are there. Like, what you can even do engagement-wise.
he's work shy. Yet he acts like and is considered an authority when it comes to politics. So when he calls someone a genocide supporter,
True.
His politically uneducated fan base is going to see them as a genocide supporter and treat them as such. Also, while he claims not to—
Only a leftist would have a line like that. Maybe this guy isn't a red fash. Holy shit, maybe he really is a lefty. Vaush's fans like him. So when he says things, they hear that and then think the things that he said.
support harassing, he just straight up actually does advocate for harassing people. He just keeps it vague enough by using his favorite word, tankies. And of course, the word tankies at this point has become so vague and
What? It's not enough to not be a tankie. Mock them, socially ostracize them, kick down your cuties. How is this vague? How is this vague in any way? It's very straightforward. Okay.
nebulous of a term, but Vaush is basically just saying, whether he means it or not, to harass anyone to my left that criticizes me.
To my
As a
right.
side note, it's also very funny to make fun of red eye posting when he himself has posted at least 5 thumbnails of Biden with glowing eyes to his YouTube. The guy—
He's referring to a post here 2 seconds ago where I say, considering 90% of intra-tanky discourse I see online is posting pictures of tanks and memes of Stalin with glowing eyes, I'm perfectly comfortable assuming they're not cool kids. Does he think the glowing eyes here were the things that I took issue with? Like, hey, when I see tankies engage with each other, I just see them post World War II shit and Stalin with glowing eyes. Like, does he think the glowing eyes there are the... Yeah. Such petty surface level disagreements. I'm sorry to subject you guys to this. I know it's boring. And I'm skipping around too. A full thing over would take ages. This is what I mean with like addressing criticisms or responding to them or whatever. They tend to be really boring, you know? I'm just if I just, man, I must say so few wrong things if this is the stuff people come at me with. You remember that, what was that DGG aligned attack video on me? It was like, is Vaush bad faith or something like that? And then that one was like also fucking waste of time. The real like is Vaush unironically evil? That's right. It's like the real cottage culture here, you know, the real like secondary economy. It's just getting reactions from people as they react to the very bad criticisms that you've made in your takedown essays or whatever. Yeah, Doomer Media. That fucking lolcow.
harass anyone to my left that criticizes me. As a side note, it's also very funny to me. Vaush's argument that Marx, Lenin, Mao, and others would have voted for Biden was extensively—
True, by the way. Still completely true, no matter how mad people get at it.
And they get clout off me, they don't ever want to talk to me. Nobody who disagrees with me talks to me and comes away looking good, because usually the people who I
Still true.
end up getting in these beefs with don't have good enough points to merit them talking directly to me.
But it's pretty weird to gloat about how lefties won't debate you because they're too scared, while at the same time refusing to debate.
Holy shit, dude. Fellow Traveler literally just inserted himself into this video so he could bitch about me. Oh my god. Holy shit. That was his entire contribution to this. Hello, Vaush. We spoke to someone who was wondering if I'm trying to get past the Tankie arc. All it has brought is ruin. I feel like I've more or less addressed the core ideas. So this was after like 3 months of doing nothing but debating tankies, and nothing was accomplished. It would just like a non-stop train of guys with like 6 subscribers coming on. The Tankie arc was fun, but this was like a long way down the road, man. I was like very burnt out on these. So yeah, I guess like this entire video is just a way for fellow traveler to throw a brick with a note attached to it at my window. How many emails have I gotten from him in total? What's his actual email? Yeah, this guy's kind of weird, man. Do I want to leak email? No, no, no. Also, it would show his actual email. No. Sorry, I'm getting a blast from the past right now. I can't believe this was like 2 years ago, man. Okay. Okay, this is what I was looking for. I can't show it. I'm gonna read the entirety of these emails to you, though. This one right here. You might notice there are 2 emails in the middle here that are missing. Okay? So we're getting 1 and 4 of a 4-email chain. Okay? So fellow traveler messages me saying, "Hello, Vaush. We spoke some time ago. I was wondering if I could come on to one of your gaming streams sometime for a follow-up discussion. Same topics, of course. Actual existing socialism and planning versus markets. It doesn't have to be now, but preferably the sooner the better. This time, I won't be under the influence of alcohol, so hopefully it'll be a more productive talk." To which I responded, "Why were you under the influence of alcohol the first time?" To which he said, "Anxiety/stage fright. Look, I know I was pretty belligerent last time, and I apologize for any rude conduct on my part. If you don't want to talk again, I understand. However, if we do talk again, I assure you I'll be on my best behavior this time. I'd like to start and try to end our debate/discussion on a positive note this time." And then I said, "I'm just trying to get past the Tankie arc," and so on. So I feel kind of bad now. Man, he's got some personal issues he needs to work through.
I talked to fellow traveler about the Vaush debate. He tried to debate Vaush again, and he got a response from Vaush saying he didn't want to. To be fair, Vaush has admitted that he emailed Vaush again asking for another debate, but he interestingly doesn't mention that he said no.
This guy actually emailed.
What? Obviously, I would say no. If he emailed me for a debate, if he says yes, but we didn't have the debate, then I would have said no. There are only 2 people involved here.
Emailed me a little while ago, asking for another debate, and admitted that he was drunk the first time.
Tankie Kang, another so-called tankie who makes videos about Vaush,
Tankie Kang, who made videos only about Vaush,
also wanted to debate Vaush, but the best Vaush would give is answering things that Tankie Kang said in Vaush's chat while Vaush played Sekiro. But Vaush later said to his chat that...
Does everyone remember Tankie Kang? That Tankie? Yeah, you remember? The Tankie shit-talked me for like a month, and I brought him on, and he like flunked his way through a conversation.
Vaush is a liar. He never brought Tankie Kang on the stream. At best, he's seriously misremembering what...
Alright, I've been exposed. Did I never talk to Tankie Kang? I talked to a lot of people. It's not like Tankie conversations ever go differently.
actually happened, and the proof of it isn't hidden. It's all recorded. It's all there. Of course, then...
You should apologize to Tankie King as... No. I want to apologize to my community for lying to you like that. I'm sorry.
His narrative for why he doesn't want to debate tankies at some point changed, but it got even more idiotic.
Have you received no debate requests from pedestrian tankies in these troubled times? I have, but like most of them aren't really worth it. I like arguing with people who are wrong. If they weren't wrong, then we wouldn't be arguing. But past a certain level of disinformation, all I'm really doing is giving them a platform to ramble. Or to put it another way, if they are so propagandistic that there's no relationship between the words that I'm saying and the words that they're saying, at that point we're not really having a debate. We're just having a back and forth rant to the audience. And if I want to rant to my audience, I can do it anytime I want to, whereas they can only rant to my audience when I bring them on. So that's true, by the way. This is why like I won't bring everyone on anymore. It's completely true. If like a debate, I'm the one with the platform. You need to offer me something to come on, anything, even if it's a reasonable like debate or conversation or whatever. But there are a lot of people who are so like twisted or like I guess sunken that whether something they say is correct or not, it doesn't actually change the outcome of the conversation. Like it's like bringing an animal on, literally, like in the sense that you can argue with an animal all you want while you're like holding them up to the camera. It doesn't like change the nature of their presence on the stream because they're just there to be there. Only if the person's bigger than you does that change. Yeah. If a person has a larger platform than I do, then obviously it's the other way around. Then I would need to give something worthwhile to them. There's like, if you guys, if you can imagine a world in which I accepted every debate offer I got on stream, I would never end stream. I'd be dead. I'd be a corpse in my chair with a permanently running stream because I would have gone for like 7 days in a row without drinking water. I would have fucking died. And a lot of those conversations would have been really, really boring. I don't feel it's worth it. It's the same reason why, like, I don't go out of my way looking for, you know, like Holocaust deniers or whatever. If I want to, these points can be dismantled without them here. It's not that I'm afraid of debating them. It's that the information you guys would get from me would be identical in either case because they would never respond to the arguments that I make. So it would literally just be a regular rant of mine interspersed with misinformation from them.
What a
That's true. That's so true.
complete and total bunch of the most pathetic, meaningless word salad I have ever heard in my life. I mean, what is a single thing here that you couldn't apply to right-wingers, Holocaust deniers or not, as much as left-wingers? Vaush's justification for debating right-wingers has always been to bring people left, quote-unquote. This is such a bizarre double standard.
Wait. Why does he think I'm only saying this about tankies? I just said Holocaust deniers, too. I'm talking about people who are divorced enough from reality that there's not actually a point in talking to them. Is he a Holocaust denier? Did he hear, like, tankies, Holocaust deniers? He was like, both of those are me. Literally, wait, why does he think this is a standard I only apply to the left?
By debating so-called tankies, couldn't you try to bring people away from tankyism, just like you're supposedly trying to do when it comes to the far right? But
so he didn't listen to what I said. He's actually confused. He genuinely doesn't understand the point that I made. I explained it like pretty concisely and clearly, and he just doesn't understand what was said here.
no, because people who support the USSR are apparently as delusional as Holocaust deniers, so it's just not even worth trying.
Some of them are, yeah. You do some of these tankies, man. Whew. Oh yeah, no, 100%. It's not a matter of how immoral their beliefs are. It's a matter of how incapable they are of digesting reality. Yeah. Also, a lot of people who support the USSR are also Holocaust deniers. Nick Fuentes loves Stalin. That's his like primo worship character.
Trying. It's just so obvious that, again, he doesn't mean anything he's saying, and he's just doing yet another tool in his tool belt, which is to use his idiotic word salad strategy.
True. Hey guys, make sure to ameliorate my discombobulate by giving me muchos dineros right now, okay? Make sure to equate money.
To avoid the fact that, yes, he is afraid of debating people to his left. What is particularly fucked up...
I've only done it 500 times. The 501st time that'll really set me in.
about the idea that he won't even debate lefties on his stream is that he continues to defend or be friends with disgusting transphobes like ShoeOnHead.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Hey, now I am afraid. We're getting into this discourse? Oh, no. Damn, dog. You know who else was a disgusting transphobe? Stalin. What happened to your actual existing socialism? Actually, drag queens are a petite bourgeois perversion of human behavior, a decadence engaged in only as a way of alleviating the alienation of capital. An anti-drag queen action is essential towards promoting a proper proletarian society. I've heard that argument before. You think that was off the dome? I've heard that one before.
who equate drag shows with grooming to the point that even his fan base calls him out on it. And only when Vaush fully realizes he can't defend and enable Shoe anymore without his audience basically leaving him does Vaush truly go hard on her. Or what about Hunter Avalon?
Wait, I thought he was going to show the view count for the Shoe video. Yeah, I saved it all up for one big denunciation video so I can make the most money. I made sure it was monetized and everything.
Who thinks the CIA is apparently a trustworthy institution.
If you don't trust the CIA, then who do you trust?
And Vaush will not only debate...
Nice clip, Chimp. Very, morally... Okay, to make a serious point here, even if you don't know anything at all about me, the person making this video, or the arguments being presented, I think you can basically guarantee that a person isn't worth listening to if you see stuff like that in a video essay. If you see clip chimping like that, you can in your head, you should think, okay, so that was a totally illegitimate argument. How many other illegitimate arguments are being used here? Like, that one is evidently illegitimate, clearly so, just based on the way it's edited. But if I had more information, how much stuff here would also, like, come across as ridiculous or dishonest? So I think at the face of it, you can normally discount stuff like this with no, you know, with no broader thought. Didn't you criticize Hunter for a CIA arc? Yeah, I disagree with Hunter on plenty of shit. I don't know why the video is implying that I don't. However, whether or not Hunter is incorrect, that was mechanism for attacking Hunter's positions is a fundamentally dishonest one. And it means that if you're willing to rely on that standard of evidence gathering against people this video essayist doesn't like, you could be made to believe basically anything, regardless of the, you know. Some More News incorporates clips like that in his takedowns of JP and Ben Shapiro. That alone doesn't totally discredit your points. No, but I do think it's bad faith. Some More News will incorporate stuff like that for, like soundbite mimetic purposes, like comedy. The difference, though, is that Some More News' like main video is like an hour-long, well-researched thing, you know? I guess I'm willing to be a little bit more permissive when it feels like the sound clip is being used to sort of comedically add, to give like a little bit of a verbal breakup to a broader, well-researched thing. Whereas that's the only thing you saw of that argument. Keep in mind, the point is that we're trying to hear an argument for Hunter Avalon. I don't think I've ever heard Some More News do that, where Some More News is like, look at this segment where Jordan Peterson says that he hates baby seals. And then it's like 20 seconds of a BBC reporter talking. And then Jordan Peterson begins with, well, yeah. And then it cuts off right there. And that's it, you know? I guess maybe I made it sound like it was funny because it's obviously a joke there. I don't really know. I don't like stuff like that at all. If that's all you've got, you know? Hold on, let's finish this video. We have a debate in 25 minutes.
But suck up to an Israeli Zionist ethno-nationalist, or a literal natural gas lawyer, or an actual American...
Suck up to... Wait, I'm just next to some people. Wait, what? Wait, hold on. Wait, suck up to... I'm just next to the... What? I can't... Wait, talking? Wait, what? Hello? Remember when I sucked up to Tim Pool and Charlie Kirk? And no, Eris isn't an ethno-nationalist. I don't agree with everything she says as well. But again, I talk to lots of people I don't agree with.
Military officer that participated in Operation Iraqi Freedom. But he says he...
True, based. I love freedom, and I love the Iraqi people. You're welcome, Hakeem.
Regrets platforming Hakeem. I mean, you can't make this shit up. How does anyone in their right mind still consider this person to be a leftist?
Didn't I say I regretted platforming Hakeem because he lied to me? He was a coward when we talked. He agreed with everything that I said. He made, like, videos where he would shit-talk me, but then I brought him on, and he was just like, yes, sir, no, sir. Fucking what? I went along with it at first because I thought, hey, maybe this guy's more reasonable. No, he's actually a coward.
Vaush has debated tankies a couple of times more recently, like Yankee Tankie, for example, but that was one of the disciples of Caleb Maupin, who is already incredibly unliked, as I've already shown. It's clear he's ignoring people who've actually read theory and know what they're talking about, so he can instead make himself look cool by talking to complete idiots, because he is a coward and a liar.
So I'd like it if you...
Interestingly, he won't point out that Yankee Tankie also, Yankee Tankie also has the don't bring on because there's no point in talking to them flag.
Yo, just one second.
More stuff from fellow traveler here. who contributed massively to this video.
We're not actually gonna get.
Is there any actual criticism video? No, there's nothing here. My positions are unimpugnable. What's interesting is that if this guy was smart enough, maybe if he, well, first of all, he was smart enough, he wouldn't have stopped watching my videos. Gotta slurp up that brain juice. Second of all, there actually are some weaker points you could have gotten me on. The video on Joe Biden and the camps, the migrant camps or whatever, I think more could have been done there to try to attack me. I would have disagreed still, but I think you could have drawn out like a real argument. There are a couple of positions I've taken that I wholeheartedly believe in. But that doesn't mean they're not capable of being criticized. You just need something there. You need to like have an actual angle to attack it from. But this guy doesn't have one, unfortunately.
I would like to just establish this. I would appreciate it if you treated me with the same level of respect that I have treated you with thus far. I did not start interrupting you until you started interrupting me, sir. I'm not a big fan of
Is this seriously fellow traveler complaining that I was mean to him?
Didn't start
I'm not a big fan of liberal.
I mean, you're the one who started insulting me, like just trying to get an emotional response out of me.
From my perspective,
you're trying to get an emotional response out of me, make me look bad. That's exactly what you're doing right now.
We need to be able to talk, or we can't do this. Okay. The reason why I'm being rude to you is because, as far as I'm concerned, you're a pestilence on my movement.
But when you're engaged, God, I'm so fucking based, man. God damn, why show the dubs? Why put the dubs out there?
Debate environment, there's a baseline level of charitability that you have to engage in before it becomes a problem. There are people saying, who cares? This is just optics. No, it's not.
It's because, as far as I'm concerned, you're a pestilence on my movement.
Yeah, I did. I met the baseline level of civil engagement 5 seconds in. Then we were good.
You're a group of state-worshipping autocrats who completely misunderstand what socialism is and don't understand the. Wait, you actually have to stop. You actually have to stop.
When is it your movements? I thought it was our movement, Vaush. Please, when is it your movements?
Please.
Having to not let fellow traveler finish, Vaush then proceeds to get angry at fellow traveler. Yeah, absolutely. You guys, I don't understand how this is difficult for some people. If you're annoying, I get to interrupt you and you can't interrupt me. That's the rule. People say that I mute people when I debate them. I actually very rarely mute. Usually I just talk over you, and I'll keep doing it, and I love doing it, and I don't care. Having even a fucking fraction of a second to express your horrible, unthought ideas out on my platform is a gift given to you at the expense of being talked down to by me. The entitlement on these people, man, holy shit. You know they're a tankie because they're obsessed with the USSR's total employment program, because they sure feel fucking entitled to the job of getting their asses kicked on my stream. The honest truth is, usually I can keep things pretty calm as long as they won't fucking interrupt me, but some people are just really annoying.
Just trying to build an audience or a movement? You're trying to build an audience or a movement, Vaush?
Vaush slips up here and says, my social movement. It's not the only time he said it either.
Don't denigrate my social movement with your nonsense.
Given how demonstrable Vaush's insane ego is, given how obsessed he is with maintaining his image at all costs, I don't think it's a stretch that he really does think this is his movement.
Yeah, like if you live with a family and there are 4 of you in a house, you can say my house, even if you're not 100% of the, like some people say, for instance, my city, but they don't own the city, you see. It's just the city they live in. See, it's a language thing where they're indicating like familiarity with and attachment to. Yeah. My country, America. Oh, I'm president now.
But he can't be his movement if he's made to look bad in any way, shape, or form. In any case, even if people were avoiding debating him, I wouldn't even blame them. Winning debates does not mean coming away from an argument as the logically superior person. Winning is making sure that by the end of the debate, the chat, the audience, whatever, is on your side.
True.
And that's the problem with debates. Vaush doesn't have to be right morally or factually. He just needs to frame the conversation to his audience as him being right, as him winning, and then he wins.
True.
And that he is.
I've said all this of debates before, by the way. Debates are not a format for arriving at the most true position. It's just a happy coincidence that I'm telling the truth.
Very, very good at. I don't think debate culture is inherently terrible or that it can't bring people to the left, and I won't contest the fact that many people claim to have been brought to the left by Vaush. But I think what these people don't realize is that being brought to the left doesn't mean you were brought over to leftism. You might be less of a right-winger than you once were, but if Vaush is the only or main person you rely on for your political opinions, you are by no means an actual leftist. The reason Vaush is seen by
super capitalist
some as a good debater and has such a large audience is twofold. Firstly, he debates a lot of fascists and right-wingers who are the dumbest people alive and incredibly easy to debunk. Secondly, it's simply because...
Oh, I want to point out, by the way, and I do still mean this, in my experience debating people on the right and the left, I actually do think I see more delusion from the tankies than I do from, like, most of the far-right people. Well, tankies are far-right, but you know what I mean, in terms of, like, the perceived sides here. Like, they tend to be worse interlocutors. At least there's a potential that conservatives exist in reality. But if you're the kind of person who legitimately, like, wants to get on a live stream to argue how Stalin was right, you have nothing. Like, not only are you psychotic, you're also detached from real modern politics, which is funny because leftists are all about material conditions. It like, at least far right, like, literally, like, QAnoners or ultra-nationalists or Christian nationalists, there's an active ongoing movement for these things in America today, which means that if you're a modern American QAnoner, you at the very least have some kind of contemporary groundwork to build off of what you believe and why you believe it. Doesn't make you any less psychotic. It just means you're participating in modern political discourse. The same cannot be said of tankies, who are usually operating on a comparable level of delusion and, you know, distance from reality, but are doing so from the perspective of a country and time period that doesn't exist anymore. Which means that you have to operate on this, like, additional axis of delusion where it's like, okay, I was already talking with schizos. Now we're talking with schizos in Atlantis. Okay, now I need to know what a fucking schmeep schmop is. But I also need to know that the person telling me what a schmeep schmop is wrong about what a schmeep schmop is. They're wrong about it. Like, I have to, like, okay, you know, like, it's, yeah.
Because he never concedes on anything. It's like a child changing the rules in a game of chess on the whim to make sure they win.
Sure.
As Vladimir Lenin once wrote in The Proletarian Revolution and the Renegade Kautsky, it is therefore impossible to argue, to debate with Kautsky. All we can do is demonstrate why Kautsky cannot be called anything else but a renegade. Given that I know Vaush's bad faith, having spent...
Wait, didn't earlier he say I was bad for not debating a fellow traveler, but now he's saying other people shouldn't debate me based on the exact same law? He said the other Lenin quote was fake, but that one is the real one? I don't really know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Countless hundreds of hours researching about the guy. Given that I know he will never change, I wish we could just ignore Vaush. But I think there's a responsibility to hit back.
I know people never change. Well, that's a position completely incompatible with reform as a, like, criminal justice program. Interesting.
Hard and repeatedly. Because he is one of the biggest left-wing content creators there is, and he has a ton of influence that he does not wield wisely. There is hope, mind you. According to YouTube, Vaush's 38 most popular videos all have come out over a year ago now, and the subscriber count has mostly stalled.
The sub count stalling is true. Do you know how views happen? So I'll defend my honor on this one. So the longer a video has been out, the more time there is for those videos to accumulate views. In terms of the views that I get per month, I think between my two channels, Vaush and Vaush Pit, I think it's about 11 million views per month to about 1.2 million unique individuals, which feels like a decent amount. I mean, that's comparable in influence to, like, news stations. So I'm fine with that. But I want more. Your videos have a view time ratio. There's the analytics on a YouTube video. It's a whole fucking... They have everything on the back end. If you ever want to, like, really dig into it, you know.
All have come out over a year ago now, and the subscriber account has mostly stalled. His viewership is clearly going down, and that is a wonderful thing. But Vaush is still very important, so it's still important to keep hitting back and to turn that downward slope in viewers into a cliff. Responding to people like Vaush is a matter, to me, of...
I used to get 10 to 20 million views a month. I fell off hard. Don't worry, you're fine. Yeah, wait, Unorthodox Monkey, were you YouTube royalty? What the fuck? What channel did you have?
Doing it the right way, through videos like this, and not, at least in most circumstances, to actually debate him, given how dishonest his debate tactics can be.
Sure.
I do think he has shown his colors in some debates in ways that have turned people off, so if you're truly prepared for the sheer extent of his bullshit, I won't advocate against debating him, but if you do, don't go in expecting to change Vaush. Vaush has shown time and time again that he is not good faith. Go in expecting...
True.
Harassment, strawmanning, and gaslighting, and maybe hoping that a few people, like I was in Fellow Traveler's debate with Vaush, might be persuaded. In the end, I'm not making this video for Vaush any more than I'd be debating Vaush for Vaush. I know if he somehow watches this at all, he'll make sure to demonize me, strawman me, and likely...
Your next move will be to call me retarded.
not even finish the video, which is just yet another part of his
No, well, okay. We didn't watch all of it. We're getting to the end.
tool belt. I'm making this video for anyone in his audience who isn't either
Also, my friend, my brother in Christ, me not watching a full 45-minute video is not a debate tactic or like a sneaky. I'm live streaming. I have, but like, Vaush won't even watch every second of this 2-hour video. Motherfucker, do you know how much I pause while watching videos? Do you know how many bits I have to express? Come on.
brainwashed or just a piece of shit. To Vaush's fans, if you consider yourself a socialist, and yet are incredibly against almost every socialist experiment in history, if you really consider yourself a socialist, yet you never read a single book about theory or history, and you display no interest in doing so, ask yourself why you aren't interested. Is this all about aesthetics to you? Because that's not what socialism is about.
Because I summed it all up. We're good.
Socialism isn't science. It is a process, something that takes reading and patience and understanding, or at the very least a willingness to listen to the people who have done the reading and understanding and the organizing. In the end, if you were a Vaush fan, I challenge you to do what I did, to look at perspectives that challenge the narratives that Vaush is telling you, to look basically anywhere beyond just Vaush. Anyways, that's about all I have to say. It took me a long time to actually make this video because I'm kind of afraid of Vaush and of certain incredible
Bro, I'm not part of the fucking internet mafia. What?
incredibly mean and toxic elements of his fan base.
Oh my god.
But at the same time, I think these things just need to be said. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please support the video and the channel by liking, subscribe.
Okay. The fact that you censored my comment only proves my point. You're going to censor this one as well. Vaush is arrogantly ignorant, speaking as a former viewer. Yes. Vaush's debate with fellow traveler really helped open my eyes up too. Damn. Who gets bought in by this shit? There's a comment saying they were watching since 2017. I've been a Vaush fan my entire life, all the way back to 1994. Anyway, there was really like nothing of value there, I guess, except for jokes. There will never be anything of value to a criticism of me.